In this video, we will be talking about 24 moments when the One Piece manga or anime made funny mistakes. Let's start with the moment Oda mistakenly attributed Luffy's scar to Zoro. In chapter 698, Zoro appears with a thick cross mark that Akainu caused, instead of the thin diagonal scar that Mihawk gave him. This was a design error that Oda later corrected. In chapter 599, Oda also gave Trafalgar Law's katana to Zoro, instead of his Shursui. Additionally, in chapter 598 of the Jump version, Zoro's eye scar was drawn on the wrong eye. While it's understandable that Oda makes occasional mistakes while drawing the One Piece manga daily for over 20 years, compared to Season 2's mistakes, his work looks flawless. There was a time when the studio put two Zoros in the same frame. In a scene from episode 261, Zoro saves Luffy from a sneak attack, and in the same scene we see two Zoros, one saving Luffy and the other standing in the background with the crew. This scene really left many confused. Another error occurred with Crocodile, who has a hook on one of his arms, but Season 2 animators portrayed him with both arms intact. Oda himself also repeated this error on the cover of chapter 398, but corrected it later. You may remember the character from the Amazon Liliar, who, in a scene in episode 409, had an extra leg added out of nowhere. When Ace visited the animators, Shanks was also depicted with both arms, despite having already lost one. And if you think that these errors stop there, you are very mistaken. In one scene, when Nami jumps towards the Sky Island, she appears with 6 fingers on her right leg. Did you know that Marco, the commander of the 1st Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, was presented quite differently in his first appearance? In episode 151, he looks very different from the Marco we know today. The same thing happened with Kaido and Big Mom, who were first seen as silhouettes in episode 314 when Garp was talking about Shanks, and were revealed in episode 570 during the artwork for Fishman Island. These early renderings were very different from his final designs. Talking about characters, Oda originally had a peculiar design for the famous Gold Roger. He had a distinctive mustache that resembled nostrils, something that was very evident in his initial sketches. Also, we've already talked about how the Season 2 animators added 2 Zoros in one scene, and it reminds me of a moment when Oda drew Luffy with 2 straw hats when Luffy reaches out to save Zoro after his fight against Dracula. Mihawk in chapter 52. The series also made mistakes with characters like the Blue Gorillas from the Impel Down arc, who were poorly represented with white capes and black fur in opening 11. Speaking of color changes, the Funon brothers, who serve under the card in the Stampede film, had their appearances altered to the point of being almost unrecognizable. One of the funniest mistakes happened in episode 52, when a Marine appears wearing a hat with Marn Marn engraved on it instead of his correct name, which was Mashikaku. After the typo was discovered, English-speaking audiences began calling him Marn the Marine, resulting in a very popular meme among One Piece fans. The series also made mistakes with characters like the Blue Gorillas from the Impel Down arc, who were poorly represented with white capes and black fur in opening 11. Speaking of color changes, the Funon brothers, who serve under the card in the Stampede film, had their appearances altered to the point of being almost unrecognizable. One of the funniest mistakes happened in episode 52, when a Marine appears wearing a hat with Marn Marn engraved on it instead of his correct name, which was Mashikaku. After the typo was discovered, English-speaking audiences began calling him Marn the Marine, resulting in a very popular meme among One Piece fans. In episode 76, there was another ridiculous mistake. Luffy burns his red shirt, which reappears out of nowhere in the next scene. The animators really left something to be desired on some days. And as for Kinnamon, he was seen hiding in the water without any problems, even though he is a devil fruit eater, which makes no sense. Ultimately, For Kids made its own changes, such as referring to Ace as part SD Trace in the anime adaptation and removing the tattoo on his shoulder that bears his name. Although they changed his name to the correct one, Fire Fist Ace, the Funimation TV edition kept the tattoo. These are just some of the mistakes that occurred throughout the series. I hope you enjoyed remembering these fun moments from One Piece, and if you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, and see you. Bye bye.